Good evening, board members and residents. I'd like to call to order our regular board meeting for May 26, 2026. I'd ask that everyone present please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Batkins?
Here.
Mr. Brado?
Here.
Mr. Olgiati?
Here.
Ms. Rabeau?
Here.
Mr. Tominello?
Here.
Mr. Witt here, Mr. Verkest.
Here. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, including approval of the regular board meeting minutes of May 11th, 2026, approval of the bills in the amount of $1,816,115.56, and approval of the April 2026 revenue and expenditure report. Unless there are any revisions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support? Support. All right, got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Mr. Olgiati. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, board. Next is the approval of the regular agenda. I'm not aware of any changes, and if there are no revisions to the agenda, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support?
Support.
We've got a motion by Mr. Tominello, with support by Ms. Rabeau, to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, board. Next is announcements. We do have a few announcements. The DIA is here in Harrison Township. There are 7 replicas of DIA paintings installed all across the township for this summer. Please visit the township website for a map of all of the locations of these beautiful works of art. The Tucker Senior Center has lots of exciting trips coming up, from baseball games to Greenfield Village. Contact the Senior Center today by calling 586-466-1497 to learn more or to register to attend. The Harrison Township Beautification Commission is hosting their annual Plant, Pot, and Garden Art Exchange this Saturday, May 30th, from noon to 2 p.m. It will be held in the parking lot of the Tucker Senior Center, 26980 Ballard. The library will have information on their seed bank, and there will be a kids' plant a pot, make and take station. For more information or to register, please visit the township website or call Sue Keene, 586-242-3868. We will be dedicating the Don and Candace Miller Park, formerly Water Park, on Wednesday, June 3rd at 3 p.m. Everyone is welcome. And coming up, the annual Kids Free Fishing Derby is happening Saturday, June 13th at Lake St. Clair Metro Park. For more information on these events, as well as all other township events, you can call the supervisor's office, 586-466-1445, or visit our website at www.harrisontownshipmi.gov. Mr. Tominello, announcements?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So I just wanted to share with the board that the Treasurer's Office has started the process to eliminate water and sewer lockbox. Just to give everyone a little bit of a reminder and history, when we moved over to our new payment platform, Point and Pay, for taxes and water and sewer payments, and we've expanded to both building, Parks and Rec, Senior Center. We use that tool to take payments in. What's happening is, as we moved to Point and Pay, we knew that both that mail traffic coming in, water bills being mailed to us, actually they get mailed to the bank, to the lockbox, would start to decline. That was around almost 3 years ago when we started that project. We've come to the point where mail going to our bank, and we pay the bank not only for the cost of the lockbox, we pay the bank for each transaction that goes through the lockbox, water and sewer bill payment. We also pay for a decision manager, if they can't figure something out, we pay a fee there. So what's going to happen is I've been working with the Water and Sewer Department. We're going to be bringing, instead of going to the post office box and going to the bank lock box, all of that mail, now that it's been reduced by about 25% from 3 years ago, it's going to be coming in and getting processed by my office. So a little bit more workload for the staff, but we feel that over time we can actually promote more point and pay payments. And we can bring that down, but we're going to save the cost of the lockbox. And we're not going to retire it right away because we know there's a transition period. But for those residents may see in the newsletter and water and sewer newsletter that the P.O. box will be changed to our address here, 38151 Lance Cruz. And you'll get a pre-printed envelope. Everything's going to be changed. So anyway, that's the start of closing down the lockbox, which was the last half of the project for cost savings.
Good. Well, thank you for that.
They're still able to make those in person?
Oh,
At
absolutely.
the window? Okay.
Always come to the window. Sure,
I
absolutely.
see a lot of residents that still like to do it that way.
Yes, with
so-
point and pay, you can come to the window, you can put it in the mail, you can pay by phone, or you can pay through the website.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Witt?
Yeah, just real quick, just to announce that we are in election season now for the August 4th primary election. Applications for absentee ballots for people on our permanent absentee list went out last week, and so those are out and available for processing. Individuals that are on our permanent ballot list will start seeing those ballots mailed out around June 25th, so we'll start seeing ballots in the mail then, and then we have a bunch of different ways that we get to choose how we want to vote, and then early voting would be starting July 25th and running through Monday, August 3rd, with Election Day on August 4th, and all your regular precincts will be open then, so choose your own adventure as far as voting.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements? Hearing none, we'll move forward on our agenda to item D1, resolution number 5 for the Archer Lakeshore and Party Canal dredging SAD.
Yes, sir. So we've talked about this project several meetings, and so we have petitions from the Archer and Lakeshore canals to form a special assessment district to do sediment removal. And so we've been working with our bond counsel on costs and making sure we have everything prepared for that, to be able to adopt resolution number 5. Resolution number 5 confirms the role and ultimately directs the township treasurer as to how to collect and when to collect on the SAD from residents. This project is financed by a bond sale, but we do offer a prepayment opportunity in advance so that we don't overfinance the project. But basically, the resolution lays out, when they have time to pay without interest and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Discussion, or is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, the motion is to adopt resolution number 5 for the Archer Lakeshore and Party Canals Sediment and Aquatic Weeds Removal Special Assessment District. Is there support?
Support.
Okay, got a motion with support. Certainly, this evening, there's more people present for our meeting than normal, but we have, I think, 4 different SADs? Five SADs. So it's hard for me to know who's here for what, and maybe a little bit of everything, so maybe just a little refresher. What we do is, our policy is anytime we make a motion, but before we vote on that motion, we open the floor for public comment. So I'll announce that for whatever it is. So if you're here for maybe the Malice Street, when we talk about that, and you want to speak to that, we accept public comment about whatever the item is. So right now, we're talking about the special assessment for the Archer Lakeshore Canal. So if you're here for Malice or another one, got to kind of wait your turn. We accept public comment about that subject. What we do encourage is if, for example, you're here to talk about the Archer Canal dredging, I'll open up the floor for public comment. Everybody's welcome to come on up. It's not an interaction. If you ask questions, it's public comment. So I'm not going to answer you. We won't answer you when we close the floor for public comment. We will give a response. If you know that you want to talk about the Archer Canal and you see that your neighbor's at the podium, we encourage you to take a seat at one of the 2 chairs off to the side there, kind of like you're on deck, and that keeps the baseball game moving a little faster, and we all get to go home and maybe actually watch the baseball game. So, so if you do want to talk, that's okay. We're not going to stop you, but we just invite you to come on up so that when one speaker is done, someone else is on deck ready to go. So at this time, we will open the floor for public comment regarding the Archer, Lakeshore, and Pardee Canal sediment and aquatic weeds removal special assessment district. Is there any public comment? All right. Any public comment? All right, we'll close the floor for public comment. Clearly, you're here for one of the other SADs. All right, seeing no public comment, is there any board comment?
Just so everyone knows that everyone's kind of glancing over there. She's a news reporter.
Yeah.
She's not going to comment.
Yeah, yep. So, and I will add, I know that in the past, we had some discussion about the impact to the park. Mr. Witt and I did have a phone conversation with the contractor. It doesn't appear that utilizing Pardee or a portion of Pardee would make a difference in the contractor's opinion, a substantial difference to the impact of the park. And that assumes the county would even allow us to do that. We did talk about what trees would be removed. We do anticipate that there could be some small caliper trees, but we made it clear that any substantial tree would not be removed. So as we move forward with this, you know, we're not going to just say, go to town. We're going to meet with that contractor and talk about, you know, any specific trees they wish to remove. I think we also talked about payment terms.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Backens had a question earlier, at our previous meeting about payment terms, and in discussions with the contractor, we basically had suggested that initial payment covers a portion of the purchase of the bag material itself, because they're all custom ordered. And we basically said like, hey, what if we paid you after they're ordered? You know,
It's like a 6-week lead time,
yeah,
I
and so it's a 6-week lead time, so trying to work with it, and he said he was gonna look into that and give us some feedback this week, and, so we can try and make, you know, like, hey, we don't wanna pay unless we know those things are coming and are on site, or we see the, you know, receipt kind of thing, and he was open to it, and so,
It's a busy season, I think, for him because it's prior to the spawning and everything, but he had indicated he'd give us some sort of proposal in writing that we can share with the board prior to us engaging in that contract, so.
Payment schedules in there too? Is that what's going to be part of that?
Well, there was a payment schedule proposed, but he was going to give us a breakdown or some proposal of, I think the big primary concern was what that first payment entailed and whether or not we would be exposed. So when we have that, we'll share it with you. And, you know, at this point, we haven't executed the contract.
Yep.
So when we get his proposal, we'll share it with the board. Wouldn't surprise me if there'll be an opportunity to talk about it the next meeting. At this point, we have not executed that contract.
Okay. I was concerned about the final payment being paid when he throws grass seed down and some hay.
no, and I reread that, Brian, and it says when restoration is complete, and,
Yeah.
and, I mean, at least when we're doing projects, restoration is complete when there's grass growing and we're confirmed that we're good. So,
We have done a 10% retainage in the past. So in other words, if someone says, well, I planted the grass, I'm ready to go, we've said, well, we're going to hold a certain amount of that until we actually have grass and not just seed.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you.
yeah, that's our standard practice, so.
So, Mr. Supervisor, he did not feel that utilizing part of the road to dry would be less of an impact on the park?
He didn't feel that it would be a significant impact, and he had concerns with, you know, like, in other words, so far we've said, hey, we're going to use the park. Some neighbors said, well, we don't like you using the park. As soon as we talk about saying we're going to use half of the road, assuming that the county would even allow it, now we're dealing with some folks that say, I don't care about the park, but I can't pull my boat into my driveway or my RV. And so he didn't feel like it would make enough of an impact to counter any other potential challenge.
And he did do the math on the volume that would be there, and he said it's a fraction of a percent because the bag width is less, and in his math, it's the greater width he can get, the more, you know, like that, it's an exponential growth in the size, in the amount of material that can go in it. And so he said, you're really not getting that many cubic feet of material inside.
Right. To expound on that, the The project that we did at Waterfront Park, those were like 30-foot circumference bags, something like that. The bags that he intends to use in the park are larger. So, in other words, like, a bag of this diameter is way, way less than a bag of this diameter. You know what I mean? It's not like a 30 to 60
Yeah.
feet is 2 to 1, it's 4 to 1, something like that.
Square cube.
Yeah, yeah, so.
I think some of us just had not necessarily a concern, but we just want to make sure that we had a chance to go over all the different options.
Yeah, shake every tree.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Before that decision was made.
Yep, and we did have that conversation, and he did, I mean, on the conversation, he did math on the phone, like cubic yards and linear feet and things like that, and I want to say he came up with a number of like, he would need 4,000 linear feet of a road, which is just about 0.8 of a mile, to make up for what he would take out of the park. That was, I think, the numbers go by memory. Any other discussion? Hearing none, and we've already opened the floor for public comment. Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right, thank you. Next on our agenda, item D2 is public hearing number 2 for Point Rosa.
Yes. At our April meeting, we set tonight for our second public hearing for the Point Rosa Street Special Assessment District, under which we review the role. We followed our noticing and processes and paper and letters for everyone. But in the meantime, we received bids. The county received the final bids for the project, and unfortunately, the project, based on the bids that came back, greatly exceeded the cost options, the cost approved by the residents, basically increasing the project 50% from a cost standpoint for Point Rosa. And so myself and the supervisor sort of put our heads together, tried to talk about what kind of options might be available for the residents. We reached out to the county and said, like, hey, we got a street that wants to go.
What can we do?
What can we do? And so the county came back and said, you know, we can't, we asked, like, hey, can they be part of the 25-75 program that we're doing? Is that an option? And he said, like, no, every community was allowed for 3, when you guys already have your 3. But the county said they'd be willing to do a 60-40 match, but simply on a skim coat for the project. So
Similar to Malice.
Similar to what's going on with Malice, yep. And what happened on Terramar a couple of years ago. You know, and that cost would bring the project down about 50% from what the residents signed on for, but it's a drastically different project. And looking at what the road situation is as far as funding, the state recently approved additional funding for roads moving forward, not for this year, but moving forward, and they're looking to expand some of their matching programs and that kind of stuff in the future. And so we think at this time that it would be difficult to move forward on it'd be impossible to move forward on a price that's 50% higher. And we think it wouldn't be as successful to move forward with a project that maybe next year we could get done cheaper by paying more this year.
Yeah, so the law prevents, when you sign a petition and there's a number on that petition, we're bound to be within a certain range of that. We can't say, we think it'll cost you 10,000 and come back and give you a bill for 20. You clearly would have thought different about signing the petition or not signing the petition if you knew the number was 20. So we try to go conservatively high when we estimate costs on petitions that we give to residents to circulate. Unfortunately, with the current economy, the bid came in higher. The county bids the work competitively, so multiple contractors looked at it. This is not just Point Rosa. This is probably maybe upwards of a dozen streets in Harrison, Macomb, Shelby, Clinton Township, et cetera. So they put them all together. So we cannot move forward with the original scope of work. We did ask, as Mr. Witt said, the number was still very high, and really, to be fair, it's 60% residents, 40% county. But they do offer a program that we did where it's 75% county, 25% residents. So while I know there's a lot of folks that are on Point Rosa that maybe some are for it, some are against it, which is typically the way SADs go, It just seems hard for us to move forward saying, well, you can pay 60% when we could wait another year and you'd only maybe have to pay 25%. There's no guarantee. They could have a different program next year, but they have done the 75-25 program for, I think, 2 years now. And as Mr. Witt said, the state legislator approved additional funding for local roads, specific to local roads. Macomb County's share of that is $27 million, and they're still working out the budget because this is going to affect next year's construction cycle. But we have every reason to believe that the county is going to offer that 75-25 program, especially considering that they have more money for that program next year than they did this year. So at this time, our recommendation is to no longer move forward with the Point Rosa project. We'll take a look at it as the program becomes available next year. This is a long cycle. It's very possible that, in the next week or two, we'll probably hear about what this program is going to look like for 2027.
That was the guidance we got from the counties. In the next couple of weeks specifically, they'll
Right.
announce those grant programs.
And so, for those folks who are, for the Point Rosa paving project, we can take a look at this. We can look at doing the full reconstruction. We can circulate, but, we can provide petitions that the residents can circulate. We can look at just the skim project, which is substantially less money. It's not up to me, right? What I can tell you is this: we can't move forward with what we proposed earlier this year because the cost came back too high. We could move forward with something that's halfway, but asking the residents to pay 60%, it just doesn't seem very realistic. There's too much of a gap with what you might have signed a petition for and what we'd be doing. So in light of that, we feel the most responsible thing to do, hold back on this year's project, wait until next year, or till later this year, frankly, see what the county offers, see what the terms of those grant programs are, and engage with the residents to see what they want to do as far as a project next year. For whatever it's worth, I think we learned about this Wednesday of last week, right before a holiday weekend, Wednesday or Thursday. I know that Mr. Witt engaged with the one individual that led the signature thing, and it happened to be just by chance that one of the more vocal opponents of the SAD happened to come into my office about the same day. And so I felt like we had a chance to, not only do we say we're having a public hearing about it, but we had a chance to engage with one of the most positive and one of the most negative people to let them know what we were doing. So I don't know that we're going to really take action at this point, but.
No, because we noticed a public hearing and we
Right.
went through all the steps already.
Yeah, we're still.
We left it on the agenda, wanted to make sure that we had that opportunity, so at least we could share it publicly with
Correct.
what the outcome was.
So I don't believe we're looking for a motion to move forward with the project.
Nope.
But
After,
there is a public hearing.
well, we don't have to do the public
Correct,
hearing at
right.
this point. There's no real need for it.
There's no action necessary, but if
Correct.
there are folks that took the time to come here from Point Rosa,
Yep.
whatever the expectation was, and they've got questions, we're willing to take them or listen to them. We'll answer them once public comment is done. But I feel like if somebody came for that project, I'd rather open the floor and allow anyone here that wants to talk about it to talk about it.
And I will say, for anyone that isn't here, we do plan on mailing a letter, just letting them know that this project at this time isn't moving forward, and basically encapsulating what we've talked about tonight, that we'd be looking at other options going forward with what the county opens up as far as grant programs.
So unless the board has any concerns with it, or the attorney, I think it's okay to open up the floor for public comment.
Absolutely, good courtesy for people that are here.
Yep. So if anybody wishes, so at this point, I'd be looking for a motion to open up.
We don't really need, we're not really
Not a public
doing a public
hearing,
hearing
just-
because
Ask for-
we're just, as a courtesy, opening the floor.
Okay, that's fine.
Mr. Supervisor, just one question. I know we can only apply for so many of these projects every year. So if they have to go through the entire petition process again?
Well,
With signatures?
That's a good question. So historically, when I say historically, let's say over the last 2 years, the county's offered 2 local road grant programs, SPP, SRP. SRP is a reconstruction. That is, that's a $15,000 per house project. I'm using a round number. I'm not comfortable moving forward and saying we're just going to do $15,000 per person. The SPP was the subdivision preservation program. That's that's really not addressing the drainage, but putting minor milling and putting a skin similar to what they did on Mallist and a few years ago on Terramar. We held informal meetings regarding those programs this spring in March, I think, with the 3 streets that we did that project on, and we didn't hear any opposition from anyone present. So we didn't require signatures for those projects because there still is the process that we laid out back in March of how people could oppose it. But I think we were talking 1,000, 1,200, something like that per home, something like that. So, first and foremost, we're going to wait and see what's available, and then we'll engage with the neighbors and residents on the street that, kind of led the effort in the past.
Yeah, and
So if they just wanted to do 75-25, are we going to give them an option on doing the entire project the way we did it before? Because I know that the last time we had a public hearing, we had multiple people from that street were more in favor of the skimming.
Right.
The 75-25. than
And that's,
total
and
construction.
so if somebody comes forward, and this is one of the unique things about an SAD, when I say this board, we are not gonna decide what the residents, if the residents come forward, I feel like we've had enough discussion about the 2 programs. If a resident comes forward and says, I think we should do the full reconstruction, they circulate petitions. If 51% of the folks sign that, we can move forward. I won't preclude someone from circulating a petition. But to your point, based on the conversation that we heard at prior meetings, it's very possible that someone who was in favor of the project, the larger project, could change their mind. That's completely up to the residents. These SADs are resident driven.
I just thought maybe we could answer a couple of these questions before people come up to the podium.
Yeah.
To let them know what their options are.
Yeah, and once we hear what the programs look like from the county, timelines, matches, funds, all that kind of stuff, we'll probably need some direction from this board as to how to proceed, because as we've gone through the three projects under the 75-25 program, we've gotten a lot of phone calls of interest from neighboring streets once they heard what the price was. So we're probably going to have a conversation as to how we navigate this grant program going forward.
But to be fair, as one board member, with the amount of time, I mean, this is really our second time that I can think of, at least the second time, talking about Point Rosa.
Yeah.
If there is a 75-25 program next year, we fully expect there would be. I would feel some obligation to want to include them in that, because we've talked to, folks on Point Rosa have been talking about repaving their road for several years.
Great.
So, but ultimately, that decision, in other words, if we have 10 people, if we have residents from 10 individual streets, and the county says we can only do 4, we'll have to come up with some method of deciding which street to choose. That is really still be determined. Main thing that we need to talk about today is the fact that, based on the cost, we don't think we can move forward in any reasonable way for Point Rosa for 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board discussion?
Just a question, what was the estimated cost when it was put out as an SAD, and what was the price that came back?
Sure. So the estimated total cost that the residents signed up for, based on engineer's estimate at the time, was $441,000 and change. And then with the bid that came back, and this excludes some of the additional costs, this was just engineering and strictly engineering, and the bid project cost, it was over $600,000. So,
Thank you.
Okay. Any other board comment? All right, hearing none, we'll open up the floor for public comment. Anyone who wishes to make any public comment about the Point Rosa Road Improvement Project, floor is open.
C. William Bardell, 37865 Point Rosa. I've been there 29 years, and can we do a hybrid or something like that? Because I know at the previous public hearing, a lot of the residents said, let's just do the skim, and we'll probably have 80% in favor of it. Can we take high priority and get the skim? Because that, a lot of the people that didn't want the full crush and resurfacing, from what I understand, wanted that. We just want to get the thing fixed up. I mean, it's trashed. We just want to get our road fixed. Is there something we can do tonight or get it beyond the waiting list and some type of forward movement to get this thing rolling somehow, to just get our street done? We just want to get our street done. And somehow, so thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. So first of all, when I hear the word hybrid, I feel like something between the two. County decides what the terms of the grant programs are. So they offer two grant programs. Number two, we did go back and say, hey, look, you guys approved 50%. They budgeted to spend 50% of a very major project, which is way more than 75% of a minor project. So we said, would you be willing to do that? They said, no. We had terms. We told all the townships these were the terms. They said, we'll do a skim coat for you, but you have to pay 60% of it. I want to say it was over $6,300 just to put a skim coat when Malice is paying $1,200. So I'm not comfortable telling folks to spend $6,000 for something we could wait a year and spend $1,000 or $1,200 or something like that. So we did ask that question, and the answer we got was yes, but they'd only put in 40%, not 75%. Any other board comment? Hearing none, we'll move forward on our agenda to item D3 regarding the SAD for road improvement for Malice.
Yes, sir. So again, at our April 27th meeting, we adopted the resolution for Malice Street, which set tonight is the public hearing for the Malice Street Special Assessment District. Tonight's the public hearing of necessity. We did publish the public hearing notice twice in the Journal, as well as sent mail to each titled owner of the property based on the assessment records by first-class mail at least 10 days prior to the hearing. So again, this is for residents to speak for and against the project. When we do open the public hearing, we do ask that anybody clearly identify themselves as well as the address of the property so it can be recorded correctly in the minutes.
Okay. So we've got resolution number 2, right?
Public hearing number 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I pass it up?
I believe you.
D3.
Oh, I got public hearing number 1. Sorry. Public hearing number 1, Malice. So we'd be looking for a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there support?
Support.
Got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Mr. Olgiati to open the public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Tominelli?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. So at this time, public hearing number 1 for Malice is open. If anyone is present who wishes to speak toward the public or special assessment district for Malice, we'd ask that you approach the podium. Any public comment?
Never done this before, so.
That's okay. We just ask you to go to the microphone because we stream this live, so someone at home might have the same question. And
Okay, well, first of all, the letter that we got said that we should plan on probably $1,200. And if I read this correctly, it looks like we'll be assessed for less than that. Right?
so it
Yeah, I
isn't a
understand.
back and forth, so we'll answer that, but it is just public comment.
Okay, so good job, I wanted to say, and if that's the case. And I had a question that if there's any problems with some of the work that's left behind, is there something, should we go to the township or should we go to the paving company?
Okay.
If you could include that.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
See, William Bartle, I think what the lady's referring to is on one of your skim jobs, I believe it was Pontchartrain, they left a big pile of asphalt there. And I know during the holiday, there was a lady there with designer clothes on trying to clean it up. I felt really sorry for her. I was going to golf. But it's sitting there, and she was trying to bag it up, and I felt really sorry for her trying to clean it up. Is there a way that with your management and your engineering can oversee these people to make sure they clean that mess up at the end. I don't think it's really that hard. Because I'm looking at it and I'm trying to find something good about it, and I just couldn't see the romance in it. So can you help me out and tell me what the advantage of leaving a big pile of asphalt at the end of Pontchartrain is for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. That requires a.
Yes, sir.
Close the public hearing. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, is there support?
Support.
Got a motion by Mr. Tominello, a support by Ms. Rabot. Discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Backen?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkowski?
Yes. I don't know that I'm sure you might be better off answered. So I guess let's just say this to the one resident's question about the number. So when this 75-25 program, the SPP program, this is our first year participating. We normally include a percent when we talk about a contingency. In other words, we don't want to tell you a number. We don't want to have happen what happened with Point Rosa, in essence. We'd rather be safe and say, hey, good news, it came in lower. When we looked at this, we looked at a percentage and like, okay, as an example, let's throw 10% on top. Well, 10% of 1,000 is only $100. And we said, well, $100 isn't a lot of money times how many homes, so, we're only talking $1,000, maybe let's throw 200. In other words, if $1,100 doesn't scare you, $1,200 probably doesn't scare you. So being that we hadn't done this project before, this grant program, we did add a little more contingency than what the county proposed because we wanted to play it safe since it was unknown to us. But we fully expected the cost to come in less. Ultimately, though, and I appreciate the compliment, but the good and bad, because one of the residents' comments was something that they were disappointed in the project. Whether these go good or bad is really not up to us. The road is not our road. It's a county road. The best we can do is partner with the county to fix that road. So that means on the plus side, when they do something and they offer something and it goes well and you're happy, I should give them credit because they're the ones responsible for the road. If we had a ridiculous surplus of funds and we were saying we're going to go ahead and pave Mallist, we're not allowed to. We're prevented. We're not responsible for it, no more than you could go out on I-94 and put in an exit ramp. It's another person's responsibility. So to follow up, work issues with the work, that falls to the county. If we're aware of it, I'm certainly comfortable to advocate on someone's behalf if there's a problem. But if a contractor does a poor job, I have no legal recourse to make that contractor fix it. To be fair, Macomb County Department of Roads, they do lots of these projects. They're doing 3 in each township, so we're talking about a lot of asphalt that Cadillac Asphalt is laying down. And clearly, they want to maintain that relationship in the future. But if I see something that I'm unhappy with, or a resident says something they're unhappy with, this board doesn't possess the ability to say, well, we're not paying you. We pay the county pays the contractor. So can we oversee the projects better? Simple answer, no. Good or bad, it's a responsibility of the county. I can't go to the person who's the project engineer and fire them or censure them. The only thing we can do is play that financial role so that if there is a 25% match, we have the ability to do a special assessment. County has the ability to get road funding. We have the ability, per the state, to do SADs. So we have to partner with them to get it done.
And traditionally, if there's any issues ongoing, over the next several months, if you notice something, if something comes up, the county usually leaves these contracts open for an extended period of time to allow for any warranty work to be done or any corrections if something happened that was due to an error or something that the contractor did specifically.
Yep. So for the larger projects, like the one we had proposed for Point Rosa, when there's drainage involved, this is digging up soil, this is placing soil. So sometimes it looks really good in September, and you come back in April, and there's a sinkhole, because maybe there was something that wasn't sealed up. Or maybe they planted grass, but for whatever reason, that grass didn't take. So they typically leave the larger programs open for a year. Again, with this,
Not sure what they're gonna do, but.
this is new for us. This is our first year, but on the larger programs, they usually keep those open. And we've had pretty good success. Sometimes not everybody's happy with everything, the way it works out, but for the most part, we've had good luck with these projects. So, all right, that was the public hearing. So next is resolution number 3.
Yes. So the next step in the SAD process is resolution number 3, which directs my office to prepare the roll, or more simply, a list of who will pay how much. Ultimately, the final assessed cost is based on actual construction and related costs, but the current estimate of the project to residents is a total of $30,000 or $639.20 per lot. Based on the proposed payment schedule that the board will be ultimately approving, we're looking at it, if for residents that choose not to pay the entire amount up front. Right now, we're estimating about a 5% interest rate, but we're sort of going to peg that to when we sell bonds for other projects to get an idea of what the municipal market looks like. But we estimate right now at about 5%, over 3 years would be, $230 and change on your taxes over the next 3 years.
So the resolution that we're looking to adopt is in essence directing you to prepare the roll with those figures.
Correct.
Okay. Discussion, board members, or is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there support?
I'll support that.
Nope. Mr. Olgiati. So I've got a motion by Ms. Rabot with support by Mr. Olgiati to adopt resolution number 3, as we already explained what it was. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, is there anyone present wish to make any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we've got a motion with support to adopt resolution number 3. Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Tominelli?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkowski?
Yes. All right, next is item D5, which is resolution number 4 for the Mallist Street SAD.
Yes.
Mr. Witt?
Yeah, so resolution number 4 is directing us to set the second public hearing date, during which we review the roll. We'd be looking at having that at our June 22nd, 2026 regular board meeting. And this would direct my office to prepare the notices and all that kind of stuff. So,
All right, is there a motion to adopt resolution number 4?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Mr. Brado. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, any public comment? Seeing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
yes, Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Tominelli?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkowski?
Yes. Okay, moving forward, we just did resolution 1, 3, and 4 for Mallist, so we're going to talk about Pontchartrain. So if you were paying attention and you're here for Pontchartrain, first is resolution opening public hearing number 1 for the Pontchartrain SAD.
So moved.
All right, and again, I think it's kind of repetitive, we're doing 3 of these. So motion to open the floor, or to open the public hearing by Mr. Tominelli, is there support?
Support.
Okay, all right, discussion, board members? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Tominelli?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkowski?
Yes, at this point, the public hearing is open. So I didn't figure you'd want to comment on opening up if you're going to actually comment, so. So anybody who's here who wishes to talk about Pontchartrain, the floor is open.
I just want to say it was so nice driving on Pontchartrain tonight to come to this meeting without having my teeth rattling in the car. Our road has been such a mess for so long. We tried 2 other times. I took petitions around, tried to get signatures. We never were successful. And I want to thank the board for putting our street in for one of these 3 projects. I even called the road commission this afternoon, and when the girl answered the phone, I told her I lived on Pontchartrain. They just redid our street, and I wanted to say thank you. and she was a little shocked, and she put me through. And the gentleman that I talked to, I said, I just wanted to say thank you. Our street is so nice and smooth right now, and we've been looking forward to having it done for years. And he said, wow, we don't get phone calls like this very often, and I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they don't. We all know this was not the kind of project that we tried to get signatures for in the past, but I guess I'm I don't know what you call the person who keeps stuff for a long time, but I have the paperwork from when we tried to get signatures in the past. And at that time, the one in 2021, each resident cost would have been $6,502.25. So you're calling this a skim project? We understand this is not going to be a 30-year road, but for the condition that it's been in for so long, I don't understand how anybody could be not happy with it. And anybody who's lived on the street as long as we have probably remembers quite a few years ago, one of the residents, one of the kids drove her, I think it was a Volkswagen, down the street towards 16 Mile Road, and it actually sank right into the road. And then, they put patching on top of patching and patching. And basically, that's all the road has been for a very long time. So I appreciate, and I'm going to be smiling whenever I'm driving on that street. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, William Bardell, I want to ask you for the public record, Pontchartrain, beautiful job. But I want to make you aware that a big pile of asphalt, big chunks are at the base. You can see it when you go east on Metropolitan Parkway. For the record, when is it going to be cleaned up? 2 weeks? I think after 2 weeks, I think, okay, somebody's going to take it and get it out of there. So when the job number is complete, who's the cleanup guy that picks all that up? The final out guy, cleanup guy. So for the record, the junk is still sitting there. It's about 2 foot high, 6 foot wide, 2 foot high, right at the base of Pontchartrain and Metropolitan Parkway by the bike trail going east. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Just so I don't have to go to the podium again, if you'd like, I will call the same guy I talked to today for a commission and ask him that question. Because I know, he's right, there is a pile of asphalt by Acacia and Pontchartrain. I already lost the message to the project manager.
So to respond to the public comment, this is the first time, literally the first time I've heard of it. I haven't been by there. I can't give you a timeline when, because as I said, those contractors don't work for me. But I'm certainly also happy to follow up. Maybe if there's a break in the meeting, I'll send an email now to the folks at Department of Roads and make sure that they're aware of it, because, they're ultimately the people who direct the contractors. So we'll do our best to encourage that to be cleaned up. To be fair, based on our prior experience, I'm confident they will clean it up, but it doesn't always happen as quickly as we like. And again, this is these projects, when they cluster these together, this is a multi-street project spread out across, townships are generally, we're from 14 to Hall. That's us in Clinton Township. The rest of them are, stretching north of us. So they're, Cadillac's probably doing this work all over the county. I know that when they did Shoreline, it took a few days for them to be able to come back and put down the limestone on the shoulder and, do some of the finer things, but I am confident they'll clean that up. Okay.
Need a motion to close the public hearing,
Yep,
sir.
all right. Let's see.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Witt, support by Mr. Tominello to close the public hearing. Discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Witt, yes, Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right, next on our agenda, resolution number 3. This directs the clerk to prepare the roll, and ultimately which people pay how much. So there's a motion to adopt resolution number 3, or we need a motion to adopt resolution number 3.
And again, the way this one worked out, just in case somebody gets up to ask, is right now the estimate is around just over $900 per lot.
And a 3-year.
And the
could
3
be
years,
split up.
about 324.36, based on a 5% interest rate.
All right, so we've been looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 3.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
And a motion by Mr. Olgiati with support by Ms. Rabot. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, any public comment? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkust?
Yes. Next is item D8, which is resolution number 4 for Pontchartrain, which sets the date of the second public hearing at June 22nd, 2026, and directs the clerk to provide the notices. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 4?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
Got a motion by Mr. Batkins with support by Mr. Brado to adopt resolution number 4. Discussion, board members? Any public comment? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkust?
Yes, thank you. All right. Item D9, we're going to repeat the same cycle, the 1, 3, and 4, for shoreline. So item D9 is the shoreline public hearing.
Yes, sir.
So really, we're looking to open the floor for a public hearing for the SAD, or Special Assessment District for shoreline.
So moved.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion with support, a motion by Mr. Tominello with support by Mr. Brado to open the public hearing. Discussion, board members? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkust?
Yes.
Too many roll calls, sorry.
Yep. So at this time, the public hearing for shoreline is open. Anyone present who wishes to speak for or against the project is certainly welcome to come to the podium. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Batkins with support by Mr. Olgiati to close public hearing number 1 for shoreline. Discussion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Ms. Rabot?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkust?
Yes. Next is resolution number 3 for shoreline. Again, this directs the clerk to prepare the proposed roll and who pays and how much they pay. Mr. Witt, the costs at this point?
For shoreline, the estimated cost is $1,108 and some change. And so that would work out to a 3-year payment on your taxes based on a 5% interest rate, again, estimated at $399.
Yep, okay. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 3 for shoreline?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Batkins with support by Ms. Rabot to adopt resolution number 3. Discussion, board members? Hearing none, is there any public comment?
Hello. I would just like to know, I'm on Shoreline, I just wanted to know when you would be putting out a letter stating exactly how much, and we have the option to pay it in one lump sum, or we have to pay it in the increments. When will that be going out roughly? I'm not asking for an exact date, only because I have a elderly neighbor that has their house up for sale that was sold, and she was interested in when that would be out, because she's going to have to pay that eventually. That's all. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment and move back to board comment. I feel like the
Yeah,
two gentlemen are better.
So after we do our next public hearing, we'll have confirmed the role. At that meeting, we'll adopt the final resolution. At that point, the treasurer, once the project's closed and we're 100% sort of sure on project cost, I turn the roll over to the treasurer's office. He tries and get it out as soon as possible. So we're probably, sometime this summer, August-ish, I would, it would. And there, you can pay 100% of the project, you can pay 50% of the project, you can pay 20% of the project. You get a bill that says you have until this date to pay in full without any interest on the project. After that, if that window's missed, there's a prorated interest rate that gets calculated for the project, and it would be, and again, throughout and this is true for any special assessment we do, if any point during the time, you can pay the entire project off with interest due to that date only. So let's say you can't afford to pay it all off when we send the bills in August per se, but come December, you get a profit sharing or win the lottery or whatever, you can come in and pay the entire thing off and it's interest due to that point only.
And you'll have about 30 days, once you get the letter, it'll be a 30-day with no interest.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we've got a motion with support to adopt resolution number 3 for Shoreline. Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right. Next, item D11, which is resolution number 4 for Shoreline. This just sets the date of the second public hearing, June 22nd, directs the clerk. So we talked about this a few cycles now, so is there someone willing to make a motion
I'll make the
to adopt resolution number 4? All right, is there support?
Support.
Got a motion by Mr. Tominello, with support by Mr. Olgiati to adopt resolution number 4. Any discussion, board members? Hearing none, any public comment? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is item D12. And based on the folks present, I wish we would have moved this up in the agenda, but I couldn't necessarily say that I recognized every face or who was here for which item. So at this time, we'd be looking for a motion.
And again, different kind of project, but
Yep.
same process. This
Yeah.
is the first public hearing for the Special Assessment District for the Elm Lane Seawall project.
Yep, so here, the first resolution the item we have is opening the public hearing for the SAD. And we just went through this with 3 other projects, although it's not a road project. The SAD process is very, very parallel, whether it's a seawall or dredging or a road. So the first one is to open up the public hearing. So I'd be looking for a motion to open public hearing number 1 for the Elm Lane seawall installation.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Mr. Brado to open the public hearing. Discussion, board members. Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Whitley, please take roll call.
Sir, we'll open the floor for actual public
Yeah.
comment. This is
Yep.
just on opening the.
Jim Robo, 37803.
Well, this is to say whether we should open it. So if you just hold on
Oh,
just
yeah,
a minute, we'll
okay.
actually open the
All right.
public. It'll only take a second. Just have to do the roll call.
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
You know, I think he's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's in the
He's
restroom.
temporarily excused.
Yes, okay, sorry, I didn't see that. Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. So at this point now, the public hearing is open. And is this where anybody who wishes to
Speaking
preserve
for
the
or
right-
against the project, yes.
And you should identify your name and address? Is
Yes.
that in other words, if for some reason you felt something was wrong, you wanted to reserve your right, it's important that you identify yourself and your address. That
Okay.
reserves.
Jim Robo, 37803 Point Rosa. I'm totally against putting a seawall in. They're talking $300,000 to put 7 seawalls in. That's going to do nothing to improve the Elm Lane Road. That guardrail that's fallen over, that easement is owned by the state of Michigan. They should be responsible for fixing the guardrail. I think we should go back to court and ask the judge to dismiss the case. There's no point in spending $300,000 where no one gets the benefit. Maybe a better view out in your backyard.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Rob Klein, live on Elm Lane. What public benefit is there not fixing the road? A road commission will not, a road company will not come in and fix that road until that seawall is up. Elm Lane cannot fix our road until we fix our seawall. In 1980, it was decided that Point Rosa was responsible for that whole seawall. In 2019, we wanted them to fix it, and they won, and they took us to court.
Sir, I'd ask that you address the board, don't address the audience.
Okay. 6 years later, here we are. Went to Michigan Supreme Court. Michigan Supreme Court already said that they have to pay for half of it. It's time for us to get our road. We deserve our road. Point Rosa resident, he's already said that other roads deserve a nice road. We deserve the opportunity to fix our road. It was decided in court that that was dug out for you to navigate your boats.
Sir, again, it's a super important what, this is.
I'm addressing you, and I'm allowed to look at him.
You are.
And I'm I'm addressing you, but I'm allowed to look at him.
I understand, sir, and I don't want to limit your options in any way, but what we've learned over a period of time is we don't want this to devolve into an argument, and that's why we ask you to
Okay.
get your comments to the board.
10-4, I understand.
Yep.
And that's all I gotta say. We deserve the right to fix our road, and we can't until that seawall's fixed.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fred Draska, 37985 Point Rosa. I'm right across the street from where the road's caving in and making our canal more narrow. So I'm 100% for fixing the road. I have to try and back my boat and all the road and crap that's falling in the water and destroying my propellers and everything, it's got to be done. We live in a beautiful township. We pay a crap ton of taxes, and our canal looks like hell, and their road is horrible. I've ridden my bike down there, and dude, I feel for you because it's terrible. So to me, it's money well spent. It costs money to keep our city and our canals and our way of life, working properly. And the way that that's all caving in, and I don't even think they can get a fire truck down that street. It's damn near dangerous. They put the smallest garbage truck they can down there because that road's so falling apart. So I'm 100% for it. I'm a Point Rosa resident. I gotta pay it, but it's worth it.
Thank you.
My name's Paul Miliato. I live on Elm Lane. I've lived there for 40 years. And if you walk down Elm Lane, just don't drive your car down. Take a walk down there, and you see how bad that road is undermined because there's no seawall. So don't tell me that the seawall ain't going to benefit anybody. It'll benefit Point Rosa. It'll benefit Elm Lane. And there's no sense us putting any money into our road until you get the seawall put in. It's pretty cut and dry, plus the court case. And that's what I got to say.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Josh Hall, 37911 Point Rosa. Just want to state my objection to the seawall project as it's written. I feel like if we are going to do this project, this is a temporary Band-Aid fix. If they're going to do it, it should be done right, properly the first time to make it last. That's all I got to say.
So, last year there was a structural engineer rowboating through the canal multiple times. I had the opportunity to talk to him about our canal because he was taking photos for the courts for it. He had told me that the rest of our road, that no road construction company will fix it because it is so holed out. It has plenty of holes, over 24 holes like this. Next time we get high water, that water is going to come up and it's going to wash that road right out. How can we fix our road the right way if we don't fix the whole seawall? Last summer, we had the opportunity on the Michigan permitting to comment our objections on the permitting, and I took photos of all the holes he is talking about and posted them to the state of Michigan's website permitting. And I uploaded them with my address and information. He is exactly right. We are pissing in the wind, not fixing this right the first time.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
C. William Bardell, 37865 Point Rosa. Even though I keep all my stuff tight and maintain my stuff, for the betterment of the both sides residents, I just like everything fixed up. I like everything nice. And I can tell you, when I moved in the neighborhood 27 years ago, I thought in my brain that I have arrived. I didn't go to West Bloomfield. I didn't go to these other places. I went here so I could be close to the expressways. Could be a little bit country, a little rock and roll. And it was a nice neighborhood. I'm just looking at the benefit of everybody. This thing started because the last 7 houses didn't get a seawall. The builder, Fry, or whatever, when he put the seawalls in, one person didn't get a seawall, and then the next guy said, well, I'm not getting a seawall. He didn't get a seawall. And then there was talk when this whole thing started, like, put riffraff, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to, those last few houses on the end, how are they going to get their boat out? And we discussed, and I said, well, I told the block captain, do you guys want to give the money to the lawyers, or do you guys want to make a compromise with Elm Lane? And we all get together, we all kick in a couple thousand, we fix everything up, la-di-da, nicey-nicey, like in the old days, and we go about our business. But it went to court, and this is what we got. So that's what it is what it is. So, like I said, fix up, clean up, let's fix it up and clean it up and just get it done. And bite the bullet, that's what it is. Got to do it. Pay now or you got to pay later. Got to get done. So, I don't know what to tell you. Just, got to get done. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to make the hard choices. And, I realized there was a guy that drove his car past the guardrail into the ocean, into the canal or whatever. Was that documented? I don't know where the paperwork is on that. Bashed through the guardrail a couple times back years ago. We don't have the paperwork on that. So we could go back and forth. We can fight, backbite, but we want to get from point A to point B. We want to get it done, fix up, clean up. Let's fix up our town. Let's fix it up. Enjoy ourselves. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to close the public hearing regarding the Elm Lane seawall installation.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
I'll support that.
Got a motion by Mr. Badkins with support by Mr. Brado to close the public hearing. Discussion, board members? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Badkin?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rabeau?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Burkest?
Yes. So there were a few comments. I'll do my best to reply. State of Michigan should be responsible. I know that prior to the lawsuit that brought us to where we are now, I explored that avenue, and it didn't seem very likely that it was going to happen. Super important for everybody to understand that the reason we're here today, Harrison Township is not, this is a private dispute, a private issue between private parties. The only reason we're sitting here today is because the township is uniquely positioned to be able to do a special assessment to make sure that everybody pays. We have the ability to collect. We're not a party to this. It's a private road, it's a private canal. It's really a dispute like someone has a problem with their fence, but the difference is this is dozens of people that are involved, and so we did say early on that if there is a resolution from the court, because we can borrow money, and we do have we're uniquely positioned as the township to be able to do an SAD and make sure that everybody pays whatever fair share the judge decided, that we told both lawyers for both sides that we'd be willing to do an SAD if there were a resolution. Someone said this should go back to court. It's not for me to decide, it's for you to decide. For each of you guys, everybody here was represented by one attorney or the other, and they had an opportunity to appeal. That time has come and gone, so we're only moving forward based on the fact that A, a circuit court judge made a decision, and B, both parties affected by that decision, for whatever reason, chose not to appeal that decision. Until that happened, we weren't going to move forward with the SAD. I'm not in a position to decide how much should be done, what public benefit there is to be gained, whether we should fix more or less of the seawall. That was decided by a circuit court judge. If somebody feels it should be different, then it's up to that party to assemble their neighbors, pay a lawyer to go back and tell the judge to come up with a different decision. But at this point, that decision has been in place long enough. The road is in poor enough condition. This board is making good on their commitment to say that we would move forward with the SAD, which is why we're going to talk about resolution number 3 and number 4. At this point, whether I agree or disagree with the amount of work, I haven't been given that choice. Whether I agree or disagree with the type of construction, the court decision from the judge said Point Rosa shall abate the nuisance and the cost shall be split as follows. So it isn't up for Harrison Township to decide how much seawall. The court decision said 540 feet, I believe. They defined the limits, and they said Point Rosa gets to choose. Before I'm willing to go forward with that, I made sure that we had ample conversations we've had meetings with residents, but we also had a meeting with the attorney for Elm Lane, because if they were not comfortable with the scope of work and the quality of work that Point Rosa was choosing to do, it would be up to them to take that legal action by representing the folks on Elm Lane. No one has given me any indication that they're unwilling to move forward with the project, which is why we are moving forward. In spirit of doing so, we'll talk about resolution number 3, which is item D13 next.
And again, this is just basically directing my office to create the role. Right now, based on the bid from the contractor selected, plus including contingency, bonding cost, other items like that, right now the estimate's at $438,281.18 total. And based on the judge's ruling, the cost is split between Point Rosa and Elm Lane, with the Point Rosa residents have a per lot cost of $13,696.29 at this point, which is estimated at an annual payment of just under $1,300. And then for the Elm Lane residents, the cost per lot is $6,848 and change, with the annual estimated cost of just under $650.
Okay. All right, so hearing that, we're looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 3. Any discussion, or is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Tominello. Support? Is there support?
Support.
All right, we've got a motion with support by Mr. Olgiati. Discussion on the motion, board members. Hearing none, is there anyone present who wishes to make any public comment before we vote on the resolution? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Batkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Ms. Rubeau?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkust?
Yes. Next on our agenda is item D14, also regarding this issue. The SAD, this is, sets the date of the second public hearing, June 22nd, directs the clerk's office to provide the required notices. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 4?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support.
We've got a motion by Mr. Batkins with support by Ms. Rameau to adopt resolution number 4. Any discussion, board members? Hearing none, is there any public comment regarding resolution number 4?
William Opitich, 38001 Point Rosa. Approximately when will they get started on this work?
Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. I don't know that I have an exact timeline. There is a permit in place, correct?
My understanding?
Yep. And I know that there are timelines associated with a contractor. Ultimately, that falls on, I guess I would say Point Rosa. The court order is for Point Rosa to do the work. So let's say hypothetically, we move forward with, we've established this role, we've got these resolutions in place. The amount of money that's involved in this, we're likely to bond for. We're likely to borrow because it is over a 15-year period, is that
Correct.
right? So it's not everybody's going to be able to pay lump sum up front. So we want to have those things in place. But that decision ultimately, in other words, hypothetically, we could put all this in place and Point Rosa could choose to never direct the contractor to move forward. Well, I certainly don't expect that to happen. In other words, I'm not empowered to tell the contractor to move forward because the judge didn't say Harrison Township shall abate the nuisance. The judge said Point Rosa shall abate the nuisance. To be fair, my anticipation is as we move forward with this SAD and the attorney representing Point Rosa has reason to believe that the SAD is going to happen and they won't be on the hook for all that money up front. They'll probably take that action. But I can't answer that question directly with a specific timeline because we're not the responsible party to perform the work. But we'll certainly do our best to try to get it done as soon as we can. Any other discussion regarding resolution number 4? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Ms. Rebo?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkowski?
Yes. All right, thank you, Board. Next on the agenda is item 1 regarding litigation associated with PFAS.
There's currently litigation filed against 3M and DuPont corporations regarding PFAS contamination associated mainly with firefighting foam and its impact on the public drinking water. And there have been settlements at this point with more than $14 billion available as part of the suit. Communities that did not specifically opt out of the settlements do have some timelines to be able to file to receive our portion of the settlement. We did receive a proposal from the township attorney, Kirk Huthlang of Badalamenti, who is working in partnership with Stag Liuzza, who is the lead attorney on the case representing, and the proposal is to represent our interest in the case to ensure that we receive the appropriate amount of money and what we're eligible for, basically. So the recommendation at this point would be to adopt the resolution to execute the legal services agreement based on the terms set forth for the 3M and DuPont public drinking water settlements in the aqueous film forming foams litigation MDL number 2873.
All right. So there's a recommended motion of adopting the resolution to execute this legal services agreement.
And if you have any specific questions, I would definitely defer to Mr. Huth on that, but
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there support?
support.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Witt, by Mr. Tominello, support by Mr. Witt, to adopt this resolution. Any discussion, board members? Questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, Mr. Witt, will you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Ms. Rebo?
Yes.
Mr. Verkowski?
Yes. All right,
Thank you, Board.
thank you. Item E2 is next regarding an ordinance amendment.
And I can just introduce it here, but I think you were driving the ship a little bit on this one.
Yep.
Basically, it's an ordinance based on our discussion prior to the previous meeting. But as the marijuana industry has matured throughout the state, our producers have found they don't necessarily need the space they expected to operate in. They don't need a grow with 6,000 Class Cs and growing unlimited and all this kind of stuff. And they'd like to be able to allow for co-location of different marijuana businesses at the same location. This would not impact the number of locations or necessarily alter the number of permits per se. I mean, we expect there to be an increase in permits, but it's not, necessarily different than what we might have expected at the beginning of this. But it would just allow for additional permitted businesses to share physical space. Again, they'd still go through the same process, still have the same requirements as any of other permitted businesses, where they would have to be, inspected, make sure they meet all the requirements of our ordinance, be clearly segregated and separated from any other businesses on site, so there's no commingling. And that's not only an us rule, that's something the state of Michigan would look at as well. This is something that has happened and is happening in other communities throughout the state. So it doesn't really change anything drastically. So I don't know if I missed anything.
No, I would say, so to your point, we kind of used, at least as a template, language from another municipality in Macomb County that offers the same thing. When we contemplated, when the cannabis industry was commercialized, we understood that we regulated locations. There was a lot of discussion, certainly, but one of them was the fact that we didn't want too much real estate dedicated to any one industry. So we have successfully regulated the number of locations. When we originally contemplated this, we contemplated the fact that maybe the ABC company might have 6, 7, 8 different licensed functions, whether it be growing or processing, within a facility. This really mirrors that. It just acknowledges the fact that in the event that an existing location has any excess space that could be subleased, we've certainly seen within the cannabis industry, the excessive competition lead to rapidly reducing prices and narrowing margins, and frankly, some businesses going out of business. We've had 2 or 3 at least close that I think of.
On top of transfers because companies couldn't make it.
Yep. So this would give any existing business that has any excess space the ability to sublease and allow for co-location. It's not the first time that it's been done, but it is new for us in our ordinance. So that's what we're proposing. Any board discussion? All right. If not, is anyone willing to make a motion to introduce an ordinance to amend Chapter 22 as discussed?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there support?
Support.
All right. We've got a motion by Mr. Brado, with support by Ms. Rabot, to amend Chapter 22 to allow for this co-location as discussed. Any discussion?
I'll just add one thing. I don't typically participate in your conversations, but it seems to be what is going on in the industry is to allow for some more smaller players to get in there. And I just toured a facility today in a community that allows retail, and there that retail building was subdivided to allow smaller operators set up their own retail establishment inside that larger facility. They went in through one door, and then had a door to their own place where they could have their own branding and stuff. So I think you should see some shrinkage in terms of costs being too high. This is way industry seems to be responding to let different players get in the market.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Yeah, I think, no matter how much you look at other states and what they've done, when you take something this significant, move into a completely new industry and commercialize it, you're going to have the need to make adjustments. And I think this is just one of those natural things.
And I guess I feel the opposite. I think that if people have purchased buildings in our industrial corridor, and if they have extra space, they can surely lease that out to manufacturing, to industrial industries. I really do not want more marijuana in that area. I think the smell has been terrible. These scrubbers, these filters, were supposed to stop all that smell, and it has just gotten worse. And now, what you want to do is you want to put more people into that area. What's happened is the property values have gone up because of marijuana. It's keeping other industry, and it's keeping other manufacturing away from that area. And that's what brings the jobs here in Harrison Township. I really do not agree with doing this. If they want to lease space out, have them lease it out to any other business than marijuana.
I have a couple questions. I wasn't on the board when the original, when everyone decided to allow marijuana into the industrial drive. What I understand is that industrial drive was specific, that area was specific for where we were going to contain. Also, there was a number cap, and I don't know, was that locations? Was that permits? Was that licenses? And and I think I get confused on what the locations versus permits versus licenses is, and what did the board agree upon at the time? And so how many did we cap it at?
Sure, yep. So a couple of things. We didn't choose a location, we chose zoning, right?
Okay.
But in essence, we anticipated that. To be fair, and I think this is an important part of the discussion, part of the reason that there were, so prior to the MMFLA, which was the act that allowed for this commercialized growing with the metric system and a state oversight, as is the case in a lot of other states, there was first this caregiver model. And you could grow, 12 plants per person or 72 plants if you had patients. And what we saw was that in some cases, those grow operations were happening in residential zones, which was very disruptive. And that's not unique to Harrison Township. So one of the earliest things we did to try to prevent grows from happening in residential was we said, well, let's zone them into the industrial. Because industrial is, to be honest, there's heat treatment places that you go by and you can smell that. And while not everybody agrees that one thing smells better than the other, the point is, it seemed like it was a more compatible use. And frankly, at the time, our industrial corridor had a lot of vacancies and a lot of buildings that were unoccupied. So the initial thought was that caregivers had moved there. The initial effort, based on the board at the time, was to zone it there for industrial. When it was allowed to be commercialized, there were legitimate, successful commercial businesses operating under a caregiver model who said, we'd like to take that next step. There were a quantity, and I'm going by memory, but I feel like it was 18, that we identified that were existing, established, legitimate businesses. And so there was a concern that if we just allow, some felt like it could be unlimited, but ultimately, to find common ground with board members, we said, well, we don't want the entire district or the entire, place to be all cannabis businesses. So the board made a compromise or a decision, whatever that might be, found consensus to say that 18 would be the number. We were concerned that there could be 200 applications, right? And if that's the case, we talked about doing a drawing, but we said, what if we only have 19 applications? And now I don't really want to do a drawing, so we wrote the ordinance to say that 18 was the limit, but by board resolution, we could adjust that number. And so I don't remember, I feel like it was 21.
It was.
Yeah. So I think we actually had 21 applications, and the board decided that instead of telling 3 people no and facing potential litigation, we would increase by resolution that total number of locations, and that's important, locations, like physical, a building, a location, to 21. But the ordinance also says that there's basically a clawback provision. So if ABC Company closes and they're no longer functioning as a cannabis location, that number would drop back from 21 to 20. And it would continue to drop back. In other words, it wasn't locked in at 21. 21 was the max, and if anything went away, it would gradually claw back. So since that time, we've clawed back to...
Well, then we went through the process of the recreational marijuana laws that passed in the state. And when we went through the issuance of that, we ended up at 24 based on applications. So the board did approve to go up to 24.
Right.
And then last year, I think, the board, in addition to the 24, we approved 2 secure transports and 2 testing facilities. So at a total, we had
the high point.
Yeah, at the total was 24 plus another 4 permitted locations. And since then, we've had 2 businesses go under. Last year, we approved the elimination of one of the additional 4 permits to transfer that over to another grow and process facility. So currently we have 23 that are operating as grow and process. We have 1 additional that's a secure transport. And that's all the licenses we have issued.
And that's licenses or locations?
Locations, I apologize.
Yep, locations. So the ordinance did also acknowledge that, and again, similar to our peers, that you could have potentially multiple licenses. When the state came out with their legislation.
I think just to clarify, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have locations, there's location, you're gonna hear three words, locations, permits, and licenses.
Right.
So our ordinance addresses locations, the township issues permits, the state approves licenses.
Right, but the idea was that maybe a grower might choose to say they had a license where you could grow up to 500 plants, 1,000 plants, or 1,500 plants. And I think the 1,500 was stackable, if I remember. Again, I'm going by memory.
Correct.
But we didn't know, is someone going to have 30,000 plants within a facility? Because this is any number, from the smallest plant to a plant that's mature. So most of the ordinances were written that you could have, let's say if you had a license that was for 1,500 plants, you could have multiple licenses, whatever that location could allow. Obviously, you're limited by the size of the building. So we didn't regulate the number of licenses, we regulated the number of locations.
Okay.
So like physical addresses, if
Okay.
you will. But if someone were to say, well, I want to put, 3 grow licenses and a processing license, they pay for each license, we issue a permit for each one. It's still a regulatory process. They pay an annual fee for inspection and so forth of $5,000.
Okay.
So what this ordinance does is not create any additional locations, but it allows probably a small number of existing locations that don't fully utilize their space to allow someone to have a separate space within there, still require, building ordinances and anything that it takes to satisfy the state and the fire marshal and so forth. And they could sublease to other industries, but the fact is that within some municipalities, some municipalities have opted in, some have chosen not to, and if you happen to be an existing cannabis business, you can't just go into any building, you have to have one that's your license to go into. So that rent, if you would, or that lease cost per month, the best way to maximize that location would be to sublease to another cannabis business, because, in other words, if I have a woodworking business, I can go into any building. But if I have a cannabis business, I can't go into any building. I could only go into one where it's licensed and overseen by the municipality, so.
I also think it's important to note that we could say no commercial marijuana could be grown in Harrison Township ever again if we wanted to. But that wouldn't get the marijuana out of our industrial corridor, because there are still existing businesses, and oftentimes that's where the odor comes from, that are caregivers and operating under the old model.
Right.
And they are still in there regardless of what we decided to do, and that was part of the driving decision to say, like, hey, let's get this in a place where we can get fire department in on a regular basis, we can get building department in on a regular basis.
Annual inspection.
These are annual inspections where we go in and we say, like, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And so it allows our fire marshal to have great pre-plans, so if there is something, we're in there and we know exactly what they have on site, so.
Yep. And the state also has that, recurring licensing option. So if we have a bad player, if it's a commercial operator, we get to see it annually. We not only know, to Mr. Witt's point, what's in there, and if there is a substance or a condition that, we need to have some suppression or pre-plan. But we also know that if they choose to be poor players, we can say to the state they're not compliant and close them down. This is, the decision to move toward that commercialization was ultimately a greater amount of oversight by the township and the state as compared to the caregiver model. But I recognize it's not a simple subject to discuss.
How long, obviously this happened before I was on the board, I was on the planning commission at that particular time. I would like to think that I'm a very pro-business trustee. I think that everybody, I want to see everybody succeed, but that's an industry that it's stuck in my craw. I feel like we make more exceptions for that particular industry than any other industry that we have in Harrison Township.
It's also the one we do the most amount of regulations for. We don't go to a boat place and say, we only have 2 boat facilities in the township. Right? And so
We
that's
don't
the
get to go
difference.
in and say, pay us $5,000 for each license so that we can come in and inspect. So I agree, it is unique, right? We don't have an ordinance for a body shop, the way we do for cannabis businesses. But to be fair, for the longest time, cannabis was illegal. And so we did have to sort of make some new rules when it came out. And I feel like it is, to Mr. Witt's point, we have more regular inspection for our cannabis businesses than any other business in the township, any other building.
Do you feel like in retrospect, and this is just speculation?
Yep.
But with the original board that okayed this, with everything that's happened in the last 12 years, do you think that we would be in this position right now where we would have cannabis in Harrison Township?
I don't know if I understand. Like I think we understand before we adopted these ordinances, we had cannabis in the township, but it was in residential areas. That was common, and we wanted to move towards saying, listen, residential cannabis grows are not a compatible use. That's what caused us initially to push them to industrial. I'll share a story when we first allowed for. When we first zoned cannabis to the industrial area. And again, a lot of this goes back to case law, lawsuits with other municipalities. We've dodged those lawsuits. But I did have a business owner who said, I have a vacant building. I've got a tenant who's looking to lease my building, and I'm ready to sign a lease, but I've been approached by another potential tenant who's offering me twice as much per month to lease my building, but he wants to use it as a cannabis grow facility. And the property owner said, I don't want to get in trouble, but I certainly would like to generate twice as much per month in revenue with my building. And I look at it from the standpoint that regardless of what my personal opinion is, it was legalized by the voters in the state of Michigan. So this guy who owns a building has an opportunity to generate revenue with his building. It meets the state laws, and I didn't feel like, as one board member at the time, it was my position to make a decision to prohibit that. When we contemplated this ordinance, all along we contemplated that any location could have multiple licenses. In other words, if Mr. Smith owns 12345 Production Drive and he operates the ABC Cannabis Company, he could have more than one license at that single location. This doesn't change that. This just merely allows for more than one person to hold a license within any location. But it doesn't increase the density of the use of buildings. It doesn't push anybody out. It allows what I perceive to be some existing business owners that are struggling financially because of the tight margins associated with the business to generate additional revenue that should be invisible to anyone in the township. Which is why when I was approached with it, I looked at some other municipalities. I found that multiple municipalities around us allow this co-location, and it's why I brought it forward 2 weeks ago, and it's why it didn't take very long to draft, but it's why it's on the agenda today, because I think it is a way for us to generate revenue, at least in the short term, depending on, but who knows what happens. If things change at a federal level, the industry could change. We don't control that. But this allows us to generate some additional revenue, and it allows our existing business owners that have made substantial investments in buildings to also generate some additional revenue and keep their business open.
And just for a point of reference, we currently have 47 permits in our locations.
So, any other discussion?
Well, go ahead. I was just going to tell Dean that, yeah, to answer your question, if I would have known what I know now, I would have voted no because of the smell and what I think it's done to that area. So, and I know there's people across the other side of 94, but when this originally went through, there was 18 locations that bumped up to 20, as Mr. Burke has mentioned, to 21 and I think 22 now, whatever the number is, and 47 permits. And now we want to stack another 20, 30, 40 permits and shove more marijuana production into those facilities. It's so important to the people that they're all here. They're all here telling us why they need it. So, does that answer your question from this?
It does, it helps.
Trustee?
Yep.
Okay.
And if I might, just because I want to dispel something, just to clarify, this is probably only applicable to 1 or 2 locations in the township. There's no way this could result in 20, 30, 40 additional licenses. This will probably result in 2 to 4 additional licenses, just for whatever it's worth, just because of the square footage available. In other words, we're not talking about the majority of our locations not being fully utilized. This is primarily 1 to 2 locations that are large locations that, when folks contemplated this, thought that they were going to have huge buildings like Gibraltar Trade Center, for example, filled with plants. And what they found was that that never panned out, and so now they have large square footage buildings that aren't being fully utilized. But I don't think we're talking 20, I don't think we're talking 10 licenses. I doubt we're talking 5 licenses, just based on what is available. So, I mean, that doesn't mean you should be for or against it. I just want to say it's not 40 more licenses.
I mean, I
This won't
understand,
double what we're
I
doing.
understand the philosophy and the theory behind it. Maybe what we do is we open up a application period without changing the ordinance. Let's see who comes in front of us. And then are we gonna lock it in at that 5 number, or are we gonna leave it open? So 2 years down the road, we can get another 5, 10, whatever the numbers may be. I mean, I didn't realize that it was a handful. So the information, I guess, wasn't that clear, and whoever's coming in and asking this should be standing up at that podium telling the whole board why they want to do this. So I'd like to table this myself, but I know a motion's been made.
So I quite frankly see no benefit at all of introducing this ordinance, other than to expand marijuana growing in the township. None. You're talking 4 licenses, you're talking 20 grand, that's peanuts. It doesn't make sense. How can we do this? You run down 94 and it's embarrassing. Why do we keep catering to these marijuana growers? You know what? When we talked about marijuana originally, they all came in and they said, we're going to be in charge, we're going to be helping the community, we're going to help you out, we're going to support the community. You know what? Not one dime has been given to Parks and Rec, to any of our EDCs, anything at all.
I strongly
Nothing.
disagree with that.
Yeah, that's not correct.
Well,
That's not
then,
true at all.
that's what I got from the Parks and Rec area today. But you know what? They're never here. They're never supporting the community. Where do you see them? Would you see them at any of our events? Nope. I just think this is wrong. I think we have a opportunity to start capping marijuana instead of expanding marijuana, and I think that's what we should do. We're not going to get rid of it, Mr. Verkessen, you're absolutely right. But if we don't start capping it, it's going to run loose.
Any other discussion?
I feel like we can only grow and process so much marijuana per square foot. So if we've got a building that's only being used by 50% or less, or slightly more, who knows? There's only so much we can do in that building. It's not like how big are these buildings that we're looking at?
And when we
they're not
approved
developed
locations,
trade
we didn't say you can only use 50% of the building. We said you are allowed to fully utilize that building. We had not contemplated there would be a co-location of different license holders.
And they're not
But we
fully
have
utilized.
seen that happen in other municipalities. We're not doing something that's different than our peers. And we do see an opportunity where this might help a business that is struggling because they've got more square footage than they need.
But that's the risk of doing business, the fact that they have more square footage.
Yeah, the
You know,
flip
if I built a restaurant that seated 800 people and I only use it 100 seats a night, whose fault is that? That's my fault.
True, but the restaurant business is a well-established business that goes back as far as we can remember. This is a very, very new business. In the short time that it's been legalized in Michigan, it has evolved. Case law has been developed. Multiple acts have been passed either by the voters or by the state legislature to try to regulate this. When we approved our ordinance as it's written right now, and we allowed a location, we never contemplated the fact that they could only use a small or limited percentage of the building. We perceived that if we granted a location, you could use that location completely. So I guess I would say if the to use that analogy, if the restaurant industry changed and you came to me and said, Ken, I built a building based on a set of assumptions, and now what I'm finding is that the restaurant industry has changed so much that it's difficult for me to be able to continue to operate. But I have another person who's willing to come in. They're going to pay you an additional fee. You still get to oversee them. Instead of me having 100 seats that I have to accommodate, I'm going to accommodate 50 and someone else is going to accommodate 50. They're going to help me cover my building note. And they're doing it in Shelby Township. They're doing it in Mount Clemens. Would you allow that to occur in Harrison Township as well? That's what I believe the decision is.
I'm not trying to make a comparison between two businesses, but the restaurant business has changed over the years. And
Sure.
I've made adjustments.
Of course.
Accordingly to
Sure.
make sure that my business can stay running. And I'm not trying to make a comparison between those particular industries, but you know what? When you get involved in business, those are the risks you take. You have the rewards and you have the risks.
Mhm.
And I don't like the smell when I come out on 94. It just bothers me. I came back from a trip from South Carolina and drove through South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Michigan. The minute you hit the border in Michigan, 100 marijuana billboards.
Right.
From the minute you hit the state line in Michigan, all the way up to Mackinac Island, all you see is marijuana billboards along I-75. And it's just something, I just think we just need to cap it and get it under control. And we're not going to get rid of it, but I don't really want us to expand it.
And
It's just-
to be clear, without us saying how many permits can be pulled, we're already down 15 permits from peak. So the market is figuring this out, just like it does in every other business, without government sticking its fingers in there and saying, hey, we're going to tell you how many businesses you should open. We have too many restaurants. You can't open any more restaurants. We don't say that in any other industry but this one. And I understand the approach. We don't want the entire corridor taken over. But to me, our job as government is not to say, here's exactly how many of these businesses you have. We say where they go. We don't want them next to homes. We don't want it next to this.
We don't want the entire park full of locations so that there is no other room for industry.
But the market is fixing how many places there are, not us.
Yeah, and it's.
Mr. Witt, I guess I respectively disagree with you because you're saying government shouldn't be sticking their hand in the pot, but we are, because we're trying to implement this.
Only because we limit it.
Don't put your finger in the
Only
pot
because
and
we
leave it
limit it,
alone.
Larry.
Leave it alone. We
I will.
don't need more.
I would pass a motion right now to get out of the business completely of limiting it and get out of it completely and don't put my finger on the scale at all.
Well, but that's-
Let the market
but
decide how many.
Putting it on today by increasing capacity, and that's what
Right.
you're doing.
It
No,
absolutely-
we're not.
Yes, you
Because the
are.
existing grower could utilize all that
Well,
square
that's
footage.
fine, then let the
When-
existing grower handle it. Why are we catering to business owners?
why would local government cater to a business owner?
That's right.
That is an excellent statement. What would make us want to support the taxpayers in our township? That's a great question. I feel like
Do you-
that's
do you-
exactly
do you-
what we're contemplating.
Well,
We
do
should
you
be.
take care of restaurants?
If
do you
there
take-
was a
do you
need,
take care of
if there was a
marinas?
We
need
do.
for us to
We
change
do.
our
When
ordinances.
when restaurants
help
couldn't
restaurants
Change
succeed.
our ordinances.
when restaurants couldn't eat inside,
We
we
got-
adopted
You know what, let's-
adopted
let's-
outdoor
we-
eating.
We have a motion, let's call the question.
I'm okay with that. Any public comment? Nope, you can't do it from there, you gotta do it from the podium.
City Riot on Pontchartrain Street. I can't see having any more of this, just like Mr. Tominella said. It's horrible smelling. You come across I-94, it smells terrible. I can't see it. I mean, we've got beautiful homes, waterfront homes. You're collecting all this tax dollar for. What do you need more tax dollar like that?
Thank you.
C. William Bardell. I had a question. I had noticed when the Gibraltar Trade Center, I believe that's still in Harrison Township.
No.
Gibraltar's not in there? Okay. Well, I know one thing, they started out with like 2 trailers, now they got like 100. It's a trailer world over there, but anyway, yeah, it's a competitive business. I don't know what to tell you. Well, that's a tough one, because I know with restaurant owners, they're not selling as much liquor now because they're finding out that booze and all that is, it's related to cancer. And a lot of your tobacco industry people, they went into the junk food industry, snack bars and the chips and all that. So they went into that kind of business, but, that's a very competitive business, and, so I don't know what to tell you. Same with the restaurant business. Restaurants have to sell food now instead of the liquor because people aren't drinking as much, of the liquor at restaurants. But, good luck with that. It's a tough one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. I want to respond to the resident. We're not collecting a lot of tax dollars. We don't collect any tax dollars. We have a police millage and a fire millage. But the general fund for Harrison Township, we are the only municipality in Macomb County that does not collect a general fund. So we operate very lean. We do generate revenue from the cannabis businesses. We had them present well before the state licensed them, and we had a decision to make at that time whether or not to take existing businesses that have made multi-million-dollar investments in buildings and allow them to continue to operate or force them out. But when we say we're collecting tax dollars, I have to take exception. We do not. This does help the general fund. But it's, to Mr. Caminello's point, probably if it's 4 licenses, that's $20,000 a year of revenue. We're not gonna radically change our operations. I feel like this has less to do with generating tax revenue, more to do with helping existing business owners maximize their productivity. Initially, a lot of these people thought they would fill their building. They can't, and this is one of those options. Another resident commented about lots of trailers at Gibraltar Trade Center. Again, Gibraltar Trade Center is a gigantic facility. There are multiple license holders within that building, but it still doesn't generate the revenue that they anticipated it would to be able to operate a building of that size and pay the taxes. So they utilize the parking lot for various things. How Mount Clemens regulates that, I don't know, but the fact that they do that suggests to me that it's again an example of a cannabis business that's trying other things to be able to make it in this stage of the business.
And they also run half of their building to Richelieu, which is a hardware store, restoration store,
Yep.
Going back to what Mr. Tominello says, if they want to lease space up, there's other options besides just putting more marijuana growers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all that
Yeah.
I'm just making that comment.
Yeah, for
Half
sure.
of Gibraltar Trade Center is a hardware.
Yeah, but make no mistake, we are not bound to do this. I believe this is something we can do. The cannabis industry is a transitional industry. We didn't ask to get into it, but in order to get it out of neighborhoods, we pushed it into industrial. That led us to be in a situation where we had people who had made investments, and when it was commercialized, a prior board made this decision. We capped locations, we didn't cap the percentage of any location. We have before us a request from, in particular, one location. We're not going to zone for or change ordinances for just one location. We're going to alter the ordinance. But again, what's being proposed before us is relatively common in other municipalities. It's not something we contemplated when we considered this back in, 2016. I don't even remember now. But it is something that is in ordinances in other municipalities. It doesn't create any additional density. It just allows people to maximize the existing locations that we've approved. And as the businesses close, they'll be clawed back. But no, we're not required to do this, but this isn't about revenue, I guess, as much as it is about supporting existing businesses in Harrison Township.
Imagine what the government went through many years ago when we were talking about liquor and not cannabis. The growing pains that we're seeing now, imagine what they went through.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Well, then why don't we cap the license? Mr. Witt said there's 47.
What's the goal in capping the legislature? I understand, why are we capping? Why would
Because
we
at
cap-
some point, I would think, based on what I can recall from years ago when this passed,
Yeah.
that this whole thing was only ever going to get smaller,
Mhm.
not grow.
It has. We've literally had 2 or 3 businesses close. We've
But the
clawed back.
licenses went up, right?
No, there's less, we have less locations and less licenses, both, than we ever did.
Well, then that would lock in, that's guaranteed, right?
Our
So-
locations are locked in,
Right.
correct.
We
Based on
regulated locations. In other words, what you're proposing is for us to completely change the way we regulate this. We proposed limiting the locations, not the licenses, because we didn't know what businesses would need to stack more licenses, less licenses, processing, co-locating, all of those things. The only thing we didn't contemplate is the fact that more than one license owner, more than one literal LLC or business might coexist in the same building. The way they do in any other, like there are certainly buildings in the industrial corridor that are owned by one company, but inside they lease a portion of their shop out to another company. They do that in practically any industry. You could have a manufacturing, you could have a tool shop, but someone says, well, I'm gonna lease, 1,000 square feet in the back of the shop for a small operation that I have. We allow that in other businesses. We allow that in salons. People co-locate in those. People co-locate in every kind of business that we have. We didn't contemplate that that would occur. We can see that that's a trend, and we have a couple of locations that are large and have come to us and said, we'd like to be able to allow co-location like they do in other locations and like you do in other businesses. That would allow us to keep our doors open or to, be a more sound business. That's what we're looking at. We've never contemplated limiting licenses, but to be fair, since we started this, we've rolled back locations and we've rolled back licenses. The licenses have happened on their own. We didn't roll those back, but our ordinance did roll back locations. There was a call for question, so unless there's something new to discuss, I don't want to stop anybody, but I did get that, and I wanted to open up the floor for public comment, and I did try to reply.
Can we do a roll call?
Yeah,
We
we
have
have
to.
to. It's a roll call.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
Mr. Witt?
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Ms. Rebo?
We're doing a roll call just to open public comment?
No, this is the vote on whether we.
Introduce, and an ordinance is a two-part process. We introduce and then we adopt.
No.
Mr. Backens?
No.
Mr. Olgiati?
No.
Mr. Tominello?
No.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. Okay. Well, next on our agenda is item E3.
Sorry.
Oh, this was from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of them are from me.
Yeah,
Hey,
well, I know, but I saw Miller Park, and I'm thinking that's usually
Yeah, you were
something I
jazzed,
introduce.
yeah. So in 2019, the township was awarded a grant from the Michigan Trust Fund for improvements, including the new pier at the now-named Miller Park. One of the requirements of the grant is that we adopt the attached declaration and notice. The document basically requires that we notify the state should the township wish to convey any rights or interest in the property to another entity, or to change the use of the properties for anything other than conservation or public outdoor recreation, which I don't see us ever doing. But ultimately, we would adopt this document and we would work to have it recorded at the county clerk, and it's attached to the property for all time. So I would recommend that we adopt the declaration and notice as proposed.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
Support?
All right, got a motion with support. Discussion on the motion?
It's wonderful, the park's wonderful. My grandkids were there today fishing until they turned around and saw the playground behind them. And then fishing was done. So, but while they did fish, my father-in-law was with them. He said the pier's beautiful, and I've been out there, and I'm sure all the board members have. It's really, we did well on that.
Yep, I think it's great.
That's a tremendous asset for the community. Looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do over at the spillway. Also, in terms of the improvements that are gonna be over there, but
Well, we already cleaned up the pavilion's done, so if you go by and take a look, it looks great.
I know that, living next to it, some of the residents over there were a little bit concerned about noise and stuff like that. I heard nothing but laughter over there, and it's a nice thing to hear.
Yep, absolutely. All right, any other discussion? Seeing no public comment, does that require a roll call?
Yes, sir, it
Okay, Mr. Witt?
Mr. Backens?
Yes.
Ms. Rebo?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Olgiati?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkest?
Yes. All right, next on our agenda is item F, public comment. We'll open up the floor for public comment. It can be about any subject you like. We ask that you try to limit those comments to 5 minutes in length.
C. William Bardell, 29-year resident, clean cut, do-gooder boy next door. Clean up, fix up, people helping people. Just want a couple things I want to talk about today. First thing is, I just want to remind everyone, check out Save Lake St. Clair on Facebook, a little bit of reading material for you, stay up to date on everything, what's going on. Other thing I want to talk about is, I know there has been some discussion about these short-term rentals and Airbnbs and so forth. And I just want to tell you that the behavior of these short-term rental operators has not changed. If I sit on my back deck right now, I'm looking at a foot of grass and 2 trailers on the lawn. You would think, and then the other Airbnb right down my street, the guy feels that cutting the lawn should be done every 3 weeks. So what I want to say is these guys are not regulating themselves. They haven't learned anything. It's the same thing. It's Animal House. I was going to say Animal Farm, but that's something else. That's a book. Animal House. You know, John Belushi and whatever, you know. Every weekend and during the week, cars on the lawn, trailers on the lawn, a foot of grass. It's not just the weekend. It's not 1 boat. It's 3 boats, 3 trailers. And they're all lined up. They're all on the grass. The grass is a foot high. These guys, they have not learned anything. So I would like to know what's going on. Are we going to outlaw these things? Because obviously, these guys are not heeding any warning. You would think they would take a low profile or clean up their act or something or another. But absolutely not. It's not happening. So I would like to know what is the next move on trying to do something positive for the township and the residents. Why do we have to live in a hotel neighborhood with Animal House all week long? It's not like my neighbors, the same 4 guys drinking beer in their garage on Friday night. Okay? It's different people all the time. It's not a neighborhood anymore. It's not a neighborhood. It's not a community. It's hotel, whatever you want to call it, hotel district or whatever. So where does it end? One, are you guys going to take action on this and end this nightmare for the residents of our township? It's obvious that we're having problems with this stuff. And it's not cooling off. They're not learning their lesson. And I live close to 2 of them. I don't know if I'm living next to the worst ones or not, but I'm hearing from my other friends about what they've been going through. And I told them to come out and talk about it. But, you know, everyone's afraid to come out and talk about it. But so what I'm asking you is, please, can we put this thing to rest once and for all? Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Regarding the issues with the road, do we have a number that we could contact, the community could contact to reach people in charge of the roads?
I'll answer it, yeah. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the floor for public comment, move back to board comment. So the Planning Commission initially gave the suggested zoning ordinance revisions through the planner to the Board of Trustees, but they decided they wanted to readdress the short-term rental. After a couple of meetings, as far as I know, they came back and they were kind of split 3-3, so they said, well, you could go X or you could go Y. So the planner did circulate to me his comments and notes and suggestions. I forwarded those comments to the board via email today, and we'll address them at a future meeting. As far as the Department of Roads, the young gentleman asked about a number. So the Department of Roads in Michigan, funding for roads flows to cities, it flows to villages, but in the area where townships exist, it doesn't go to the township, it goes to the county. So the Macomb County Department of Roads, and some counties have a road commission, we have a department under the county executive, 586-463-8671 is, I believe, the number. So 586-463-8671, that's the Macomb County Department of Roads. I still believe they have a receptionist, and they'll direct you to different departments. Their website also has, you can go to the Macomb County website, macomb.gov, I think it is, and there's a page on there. And if you want to submit any concerns, requests, pothole reports, anything like that, they also have an online place you can do that. And being a young man like yourself, you're probably savvy enough with computers to be able to figure that out. So, and I appreciate you coming and staying through us for one of our more lengthy meetings. So thank you for that. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
All right.
Support.
Got a motion by Mr. Olgiati, with support by Mr. Madkins. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, board.